Hi guys, welcome to my podcast channel. My name is Sanjanish, and today I'll be dealing with a topic entitled abandonment. Hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Keep tuning for the next episode. Thank you very much. I've come across a topic that is of relevance to me, and I'm sure that a whole lot of people is going through similar thing that I'll be discussing today, and hope that this topic would help somebody to identify the things that they're going through and being able to put it right. So I had signed up for notification from the Bible app. I just want to make it clear that I'm not here to preach to anyone or to recruit anyone to my faith. Yeah, everyone have free will to choose what they want to believe in, but during my talk or my topic, you will have me discussing my faith and how, what I'm talking about is relevant to me and, how I view it from a Christian perspective. Anyway, in my devotion notification, I got a lot of topics, and this one just bring home or hit the nail on the head, entitled abandonment. And a lot of times, we go through difficulties in our lives and we are not sure or understand the reason for certain issue that we face. Therefore, I have decided to make this topic as interesting as possible, and to bring it to the forefront for those who are experiencing, abandonment syndrome, or find themselves in a cycle where they are unable to express, the things that they are experiencing, or why are they behaving the way they do. So for me, from childhood stage, I've experienced some, I would call, frightening stuff happening before my eyes as a child. Some would say, no child should be exposed to certain things. But unfortunately, I do believe when our parents, they don't have the understanding, of the things that they put their children through, it's for us when we becomes an adult to try and be forgiving and understanding. I know it's not easy, or some people would say, but they have destroyed their life and they should be held accountable. As I said, I'm speaking from a parent perspective, and I'm not bitter with my family or my parents for the things that I have experienced as a child. As I said, maybe their background, where they're coming from, they see these things happen before them, and they live, the life that they see display before them when they were, a child themselves, and they take them into their adulthood. Sadly, when many of us go through some situation in life, we weren't aware of therapy, counseling or psychotherapy, that can help us to transition into a newness. And sadly, my parents, when I was growing up, I didn't know nothing about counseling. Maybe from a church perspective, when I get a little bit older, and come to understand that, if you have difficulties and you need, a place that you can unload, you can go to a minister, or somebody, that you may trust. But like where, I understand, like in this society, you have, professional counselors or counselor psychotherapists. Back in my days, I weren't aware of it. Yeah, I'm from the Caribbean, and I'm not saying that, these people weren't exist, but to be honest, I weren't told, I wasn't aware of it, I wasn't signposted to anyone that could help me to understand or talk through the difficulties that I have encountered as a child or see, happening before me. The reason why this topic is of relevance to me, and as I said earlier, because I've experienced it. My dad, he walked away, leave 9 children with my mom, and maybe he didn't understand that this gonna be traumatic for his children. But I developed trauma from that encounter or experience, and I can tell it's not a nice feeling. And to be honest, it had me, throughout my adulthood, not being able to stabilize, or my emotions being stabilized, because especially when it comes on to trust, it's not easy to trust a person. Yeah, people have to earn your trust, but that's where this trust issue came from, when my dad walked away, leave all of us as children. Anyway, I've sent this devotion title from Starla Hill, entitled Healing Abandonment Issue as a Christian. Now, one may ask, what is abandonment? According to Oxford Dictionary, it is the action or fact of abandoning or being abandoned. Somebody walk away, leave you. They desert you. They neglect you. You feel yourself or realize you're standing alone. You were jilted, for those who, may date people or in a relationship, marital or partnership. People jilt you. They betray you. Yeah? They disused you. They reject you. They drop you. When somebody drop you, you can develop trauma. All of these words that I use to, define the word abandonment, they are all similar. So I want to look at the effect of abandonment. And I'm going to give where these information came from. So I'll share it in the description box. I'll just verbalize it when I'm through. So according to source, abandonment fears can impair a person's ability to trust. I spoke about it. When you're being abandoned, jilted, betrayed, disused, rejected, it's not easy for you to trust anybody. And I do find it, within me as an individual, it's not easy for me to trust anybody. Even though I try not to let my past dictate to me, what I do or try to do, I put my past behind me. But I realize when it comes on to, serious issues or commitment, I realize that this little spirit, it creeps up again. And I realize if I don't deal with it, it's going to torment me for the rest of my life. So here I am, I'm talking about what is affecting me. And I'm sure for many people out there, can identify with me today that, yeah, they have been abandoned, they have been dropped, they have been misused, they have been rejected. People walk away, leave them, whether through marriage, through divorce, your parents may separated, as child you go through, you see your parents divorce. Yeah, all of these can cause trauma. Yeah, and left you feeling abandoned. So it leave you with feeling impaired, the inability to trust a person. For a person to feel worthy of being intimate, these fears could make a person prone to anxiety. Anxiety is like what tomorrow gonna bring. Especially when you're going after something like important, you start to feel anxious. If a person comes back in your life, you start to feel, wonder if they're gonna walk away, leave me like what the person before had done. So all of these things can that happen to you can build up that resentment, that fear, that anxiety within you. When I want to move on in life, these things are sort of surface. And as I said, if we don't deal with them, they're going to haunt us for the rest of our life. It can leave you feel depressed. You can become a person who is codependent, and other issues. Abandonment issues are also linked to borderline personality. You have some people that said, people might say to them that they have personality disorder, different personality. So this is what they're talking about. BPD and attachment anxiety. People come into your life and you just find yourself attaching to them, being clingy. You don't even realize that you're suffering from abandonment, syndrome. And it can be horrible because if people don't understand what you have gone through, and a lot of people, they're scared to share their past. So when people don't know what you go through, they can judge you. Why is this person so clingy? Yeah, but they don't understand that this person had experienced abandonment in the past, and this is the reason why they are so clingy. Symptoms are common signs of abandonment: giving too much or being overly eager to please people. Sometimes you find, people, as I said, will keep on making reference to abandonment. If you go through abandonment, you'll find you want to overdo things for people because you want them to like you. Yes, as I said, I'm looking at the symptoms, the common signs of abandonment. So trouble trusting your partner is intention. Yeah, sometimes people don't know when people don't share their past. issues that they're faced with or they're experiencing. People don't understand why people behave the way they do. People will get married and the partner realize, there's something wrong, but they can't put, their finger on the actual problem or issue that they're experiencing with their loved one. So, for me, I do believe, addressing the issue, that's the best way forward. Feeling insecure about your relationship, not sure if that person would walk away, leave you. When my dad walked away, leave me, and I started out in life and start to form relationships. The first relationship didn't go well. The person cheated on me, So even though his presence were still in the home, but I did feel deserted, neglected, because many times, he will spend most of his time away from home, and I would be wondering where is he, so that what I should call it now is like that feeling of uncertainty, it's always there nagging at you, you know, where is the person? Is the person gonna come back home? Are they going to leave me? So these are issues that I face as a, an adult, because I always remember that my dad walked away, leave us, you know, and mom did struggle. So, that was one of the fear that I, experienced, while started out, to form relationships. So it's not nice, nobody want to experience abandonment, but unfortunately there are a lot of people out there who can identify with this topic and reassure others that yeah, they too experience it. And there's some people that go on in life and do find ways and means of dealing with it, whether through counseling, talking to, dear friend, and find ways and means to get over it and move on and start to live a stable life. But there are others that do struggle, especially for those who don't talk about it, who don't seek professional help. So anybody listening and had gone through abandonment, whether in your childhood stage or during your adulthood, it's imperative that you try and seek some help in order to address this issue. I'm going to talk about how to deal with abandonment. 5 ways to overcome abandonment issue in relationship. 1, get clear on emotional responsibility. When you're abandoned, paranoid, you're going to feel paranoid. You're going to find yourself out of control. You want your partner to understand you, to deal with you in a calm way, yeah, to calm that anxiety. You have to put in place idealistic expectations. Sometimes we expect too much of a person, yeah, but we have to be fair enough to put in place idealistic expectation that we are not putting too much responsibility on people. Learn self-validation. For me, that's something that I learn. Yeah, I can say that I don't depend on someone to validate me. I'm confident enough to know who I am and to take control of certain things that happen in my life, or, who I am, as I said, the person that I'm becoming. Yeah, because I realize that, self-talk at times, it's good. It's good to have self-talk, to be authentic, you know, practice self-confrontation, tell yourself, talk to yourself about the things that affecting you and how you feel. There's a saying that says, as long as you're not talking back to yourself, that is all right. People may see you talk to yourself and think, you're going crazy. No, sometimes you have to do self-talk to evaluate yourself where you are at. And another way of dealing with this abandonment issue, confront the situation. Find somebody that you can have a face-to-face meeting with and talk out your pain, anything that is hidden within your emotions, because it's going to come out. It doesn't matter how hard you try to cover it up, it's going to come out. It's going to show up. And learn to be honest with yourself. Sometimes we want to move too fast, especially where relationships are concerned, and we know that we have issue. let's deal with it. Let's talk about it. If you're dating or if you're seeing anybody, let people know, because to be honest, one day you're going to want to settle down with that individual. So it's best to let the person know, these little things that affect you. If the person really care about you, if they love you, they're gonna wait for you. They're gonna work things out with you. Yeah, they're gonna try to understand you, because a lot of times we find ourselves in unhealthy relationships, and it's all because we don't deal with our past. Yeah, we are unable to maintain relationship, going into one relationship after the other without dealing with the issues that you face in the current relationship or the past relationship. It gonna resurface. Yeah, it's like an overflow. It's gonna spill over into the new relationship. So it's important that we deal with these issues before we enter into another relationship, because sometimes we put too much burden on people and we expect people to carry our pain, carry our burden. But if we share it, if people are wise enough, if you find somebody who is loving and understanding, they will wait on you. Yeah, they will try to work things out with you. And we all need, people who can support us, especially men. Men don't talk. Yeah. Sometimes they're afraid that women will see them less of a person. They're not a macho person. They don't see themselves as, or, they were told even from they were younger, a man has to be strong. Yeah. It's a macho thing. Be strong. You must not, share your weakness or share your pain. And these things, women have to cope with during the time of courtship, or even when it goes further into relationship that end up in marriages. And sometimes these marriages don't work because these men coming into the relationship with mama issue or daddy issue. We all have issues. It's nothing for us to be ashamed of. We all goes through difficulties. Yeah, there's no individual that passed through situation that somebody else didn't go through before you. So it's nothing for us to feel ashamed of. As long as we are seeking help, because the most important thing is that we become, as wholesome as possible. Yeah. Nobody wants to marry somebody with a lot of issue, because it causes too much strain on relationships. So, my advice, and even talking to myself, deal with these issues before we want to form relationship. Sabotaging relationships. People who experience abandonment, they can sabotage their relationships and they don't even know. What does that mean? It's when an individual is actually trying to ruin their own relationship, yeah, make it fall apart, whether consciously or unconsciously. Sometimes some women, they don't know how to trust people. They are so jealous then because of these issues that they are facing in their life. Yeah, they see their parents go through it, and might see their friends go through it, so they don't want to go through it. So what they do, they torment the men. Yeah, or men likewise, because men can do it to women and women do it to men. They haven't got that trust, the inability to trust people, all because of these issues, that the baggages that they're bringing into the relationship. So, as I say again, it's good to address these issues before people want to form new relationship. Some people, it can be an ingrained behavior. The sabotaging behavior can be ingrained. Sometimes they don't even understand. They don't even aware of that they're doing it. But if they seek help and seek help early, they may be able to save their marriages. I think most of these marriages that are going apart or end up in divorce because of these hidden issues, people not talking. I remember when I married my husband and I realized I used to want to dress him. I don't understand why he was so upset. I thought it was something good I'm doing, but no, I wasn't, allowing him to be the person he was, being able to choose without me interfering. I just want things to be done a certain way, and I feel as if, I can take it into my marriage. And I think that's controlling. I didn't realize that I was controlling this individual. Yeah. He used to be upset, and I used to say, oh, he's ungrateful. He's not happy for the things that I'm doing, for him. Men should be able to, hone their own identity, do things, make choices. Yeah. Be free, feel free to dress the way they want to dress. If that's how they want to dress. I'm not saying that, a woman gonna settle with a sloppy man, an untidy man, but some men, they do have, their own style of how they want to dress. And even if we want to correct them, I do think we have to choose the time and place and how we talk to them in order for them to accept, the changes that we are trying to bring into the relationship. I'm just going to look at different research method or information that different researchers came up with why people sabotage their relationship. One can be fear of intimacy. For me, when I was married, I realized that I wasn't open to intimacy. Even though I love my husband, but I couldn't open up to him. I couldn't share. I couldn't feel free loving him, like hugging and kissing and just being, you know, that loving wife. I realized I didn't. I wasn't capable of doing, that. Or I felt so funny when, he's reaching out to me, and that's not fair for him, because if you meet someone who is a very loving person and they want to, reach out to you and hug you, embrace you. I should be more open enough to receive that. But as I said, earlier, and because of these issues that I didn't, address before going into a marriage, it caused the marriage to crumble. It ended up in divorce. And where I am today, it's not that I don't want a relationship. I'm taking my time, I'm looking at, issues that I have that I need to deal with in order not to bring it into a new relationship. Because as I said, it's not fair for the individual to be carrying, these baggages, leave them on people. It's your baggage, deal with them. Yeah, so these are just, I'm just sharing that people who will listen to this podcast, will come to terms with, the different issues that they are experiencing. If they experience issues before, into a previous relationship, deal with it before you form a new one. But these are the things that causing complications in relationship, because people not dealing with their baggages. They're walking from one relationship to the other because they are scared of being alone. There's nothing wrong with being alone. Yeah, for me, being alone, it helped me to find myself. I am more confident. Yeah, I can look after myself. I can do things. So if I form another relationship, I know exactly, how to behave, what to expect and what to give and what not to do and what to do. Because sometimes, we have our old ways. We are so set in our old ways, and we feel as if people need to accept your old way of doing things. No, each and every one of us, we are individuals, and we must allow people to be who they are. Yes, and as I'm just thinking of other issues that I myself personally went through, the fear of being emotional attached, afraid of this physical closeness with other people. I wasn't able to receive, and I wouldn't say that I didn't try to be loving, but I realized when it becoming too intimate, this is when I become fearful, because I'm not sure, what will happen if I give my all. Then maybe a day gonna come when this person just walk away. When people walk away, without things being resolved. I realized when my husband walked away, it was hard for me, because it's not that like, we sit and talk and, I was expecting the separation, or I walk away because, some of the reason I may know, but I wanted, like, if we would sit and talk, just share reason, then I understand where I've gone wrong. And I think a lot of men or women find themselves, walking away from relationship and leave people broken, or they go into another relationship broken. The things that they should have discussed and clarify and, clear the atmosphere, clean the slate, close the door properly, not leaving each other so hurt before they go into another relationship. That can be very detrimental. It can be very, very, it can be horrible for the person who you walk away leave. Even if a woman walk away leave a man, it shouldn't be like that. And if a man walk away leave a woman, they shouldn't leave you feeling, that hurt or broken. It's just human. I understand. People gonna be people. People gonna be human. They're not gonna think about the individual to sit down and talk, decent or amicable, reasonable. People gonna just wanna walk, exit, especially if the relationship getting, too hard for them. They just wanna get out of it. Other signs to look at, like creating barriers, example, picking fights. We women are good at picking fights. We don't like to live down things, forget things. We like to nag. When a man said, "Oh, this woman, she's so nagging," we can't stop talking. We have to have the last say. And I realize, no, that's not how it goes. We have to understand that, we need to be reasonable. Because the more we nag the individual, he's going to walk away. It's going to cause over, distrusting, or the person who are over distrusting or jealous, who need constant reassuring. These are things that can let people become, fed up and want to walk. They can't deal with it. They're going to want to avoid you. You become too clingy, need too much attention and time. Everybody need a free time. Men need time when they can meet up with the boys, and women need a girl time. Whenever people become so controlling, that's where it's entering into the danger zone. So these are just things that we need to look, pay attention to, if we're going to go into relationship, and, ensure that we're not bringing, these little habits, because these are habits, bad habits that we form because of issues that we experience from childhood. We take them into our adulthood relationship and start to live them out. So I would encourage all of us, I'm talking to myself too, to pay attention to these little habits that can be detrimental to, relationship. And okay, I want to look at where does these habits came from. According to 2019 analysis, people are self-destructive in relationships, fear of getting hurt. I'll go back to previous, mentioning of issues that we experience and going into relationship with all these fears. We need to get rid of them. Don't enter into a relationship, being fearful, oh, this person gonna hurt me. In the first place, don't try to start a relationship if you're gonna go in it with all these negative vibes. Yeah, we need to be positive. If we want a relationship, we need to give it our 100%. Work at it. Yeah, treat our relationships like a plant. If flowers, you get up and you water it. How do we water a relationship? Yeah, by talking to each other nicely, respectfully. Yeah, compliment each other. Women don't love. I realize with women we love compliment, but we don't realize that our partners need compliment too. Let them know when they're doing good. Yeah, these are good signs. It can build them. It can uplift them. It can encourage them and make them even more stronger emotional. Want to be with you. Want to stay with you. Just want to hang around you. A man who loves his wife, who she's nice to him, he will always want to be around you. Women who or men who experience abandonment, they develop insecure attachment styles, having trouble making emotional connections with others. They can be aggressive or unpredictable towards their loved ones. As I said, my husband, he just get up and walk away. Yeah. And he had issues, but he never talk about them. These behaviors, they're rooted. Yeah. These people can be lack of consistency. They're afraid of accepting love or affection or even giving love and affection because they experience abandonment in their childhood. You can visit https://www.verywellminded.com. Marital problems. You can view that website and read up more on the information that is being shared. I'm going to look at anxious attachment. What is anxious attachment? We look at the baby caregiver in a relationship with mother and baby is how we express our love towards that child. It is important for their development according to source. It will help them to understand the world that they are living in. A baby and a young child rely on their caregivers for their well-being. You realize that a child who is not being nurtured, they have issues accepting love or giving love. They becomes unstable. So parents, we have to realize that, we are the caregiver. We are the nurturers. So we need to nurture our children. Let them feel love. I was watching Oprah a few weeks ago, and she was interviewing this author who have written a book. To be honest, I've forgotten the name of the book. But what had really caught my attention, in the book, she was trying to differentiate, colors. The color of an individual, yes. It's about racism. And when a young person saw a white person, and as a black person, how do you see yourself? And the author was sharing that, when she was a little child and growing up, especially when they are in class and they see their classmate, especially if they're white. They used to prize them. They look up to them like, they are more important than them. And I never forget at one stage of the interview, she said that, she looked in the glass, and when she looked at herself, she didn't like what she see because she was too black. So she always go to the bathroom and try to scrub herself. And this is what parents need to do. Evaluate, give ourselves, our children, that self-validation. Let them feel love, accept who you are. You can't change it. Learn to love yourself. And if we start to do these things from our babies or our children are very young, when they are to understanding level or understanding stage, they grow up to accept themselves. Self-identity, self-acceptance is very much important for an individual. How we interact with each other. And as I said, the caregiver interact with the child, the baby, and that can affect them, yeah, that cause them to attach or detach. So we have to be careful of how we come across. And I never forget, the author was saying one stage of a chapter in the book, as a matter of fact, it was Oprah. She was saying that when she read that book, and the author was saying it's important, when a child walk into a room, the reflection of the facial expression of the parent. What do you see when your child walk in a room? And that stood out in my mind because sometimes, especially when our children, when they be naughty, we have a tendency to want to chase them away from us. But we need to, deal with the situation. Let the child know when they're wrong. But give that facial expression when they come in, let them feel welcome, regardless of what you have done. Yeah. I've forgiven you, but I'm going to love you. And I think, to be honest, it's something that I have to look into myself, as a mother, especially when I'm not happy with my children, how does my facial expression affect them? So talking to other parents too, we are not perfect. We didn't get a manual when our children born. We have to work it out for ourselves. It's trial and error. We make mistakes, and there are no perfect parents. So as we journey through life, we have to realize it doesn't make sense we get up and beat up ourselves, oh, we have made mistake, and we wish we didn't make those mistakes. But what we can do, learn from our mistakes, try to do things differently and be a better parent. Thank you very much for listening. Catch you soon. Bye bye.